This is when 9 to 5 ends and real talk begins. The After 5 Diaries. The After 5 Diaries.
Hi everyone, welcome to the After 5 Diaries, the podcast where corporate life meets real life. My name is Funa. So, have you ever landed a job that you thought was a dream, and then you find yourself awake at 2 a.m. wondering and thinking, and then you ask yourself why something that you were so excited about at first makes you feel so empty, trapped, anxious, and lonely? Maybe it was the office setting, the office view, the LinkedIn worthy announcements, the LinkedIn likes, and all of that. Or maybe because of the aesthetics and everything, you probably have like a dream car, your personal driver, an apartment. And that's like a typical dream job. That's like everybody's dream job. But it makes you feel lonely. Everybody's happy for you. You've got a lot of likes, congratulations. I even announced to your friends, I made it. Everybody loves your job. Everybody wishes to be like you. But deep down, you're trapped. You're unhappy. You feel empty. You feel lonely. You feel burnt out, frustrated. Even when you get into work, the excitement is not there when you wake up every morning. We're conditioned to believe that when we're lucky enough to find the job that we love, we should be grateful, no matter what the cost is. But let me ask you a question. Is it enough to love a job so much that it brings you excitement, but at the same time, it gives you nightmares, gives you anxiety? You don't even care about the bill, you don't even care about, you just want to quit. Have you ever been in that space before? So, we're discussing something I call the toxic myth of the dream job.
And real talk begins. The After 5 Diaries.
So today's guest is an incredible one. He's also my friend. I'm excited about him. And he once held a job that everybody believed was a dream job. The kind of job that gets a lot of LinkedIn likes, wear your suit, you post for the camera. I did this today, I achieved this today. You get likes, you get comments, and all of that. But he woke up one day and left this job. Why? Because he believed that dream wasn't real. Everybody help me welcome my friend Paul to the pod. Paul, I'm excited to have you here.
Hello, Funa, and hello, After Five Diaries lovers. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so let's start from the beginning, Paul. Paul, back in school, I know they used to tell us, oh, the dream job, go to school, get the certificate, get the degree, have a 2-1, have a first class, and then you're going to land a dream job. Do your engineering course, do whatever it is, you will land a dream job. This was what a lot of us were fed with, and this is what they're still feeding people with. Get that certificate, which is not a bad thing. So, but let's really, really, bring it home. What do you think the dream job means?
Okay, first things first, the way you asked the question, it hit really close to home
Okay.
because I did read engineering.
Interesting. I forgot that.
Yes, so I'm a chemical engineer by profession naturally. But what the dream job means to me, and I'll say something very universal for everyone, something everyone can relate to is I think 3 things majorly, which is a job that pays well first because everyone knows money is important. And then second, something that aligns with your passion, something that you enjoy doing, something that you don't mind, like you see yourself, actually doing. And then I would say the third one is like where you can have you can get in the zone. Like you like this thing so much, even though it's work, you're so it comes so naturally to you, you don't know when you're doing it. So I would say that's what the dream job is. But these days it's become this over romanticized idea, that this job is supposed to give your life purpose or meaning or identity. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's where the disconnect starts to happen because it's simply not the case because that's just so much pressure or that's so much expectation to have
Of a
from
job.
a job. Do you know what I mean? So I think that obviously companies, in a bid to sell their
Job roles,
vacancies,
yeah.
and for a bit to get the most qualified applicants, they kind of like sell a dream intentionally or unintentionally. That's not the point, but they do sell a dream. You read the job description, you just kind of like imagine yourself in like some form of world that doesn't exist. You know what I mean? So social media as well, like somebody does like, oh, day in the life with me, and
Yeah.
they give you some very, very, very curated 60-second video of what their life is about, and then you unconsciously buy into this dream, and you think that someday I'm going to get this job where I'm going to have no worries in the world at all, blah blah blah. And then it's just, you get there eventually, you realize all of it is smokes and mirrors.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's what I think a dream job is.
Oh, that's interesting. So are you trying to tell me that the dream job is a scam? Because you just painted two signs. You just showed me two sides of a coin, right? Like where they sell all the dream, everything expected. Are you saying it's a scam?
No. However, two truths can coexist. So two things can be true at the same time. So I wouldn't say it's a scam. I would say it's like more like half truth.
Oh yeah.
Because dream jobs do exist. There are jobs out there in the world that actually do what they're supposed to do. However, I think it's about expectations. I don't think even the dream job, whoever's watching, whatever you think it's a dream job, I don't think that if you don't have a purpose before having that job, I don't think that the job can give you a purpose. So dream job, yes, but it's not so dreamy, if that makes sense. So yes, so two truths it's half truths, partly true, partly false,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Okay. So this advice that people give, like maybe mentors or career coaches about follow your passion, is that a bad advice?
I'll use an analogy to explain this one, because you know how, I don't know if it's appropriate to talk about love or the After Five Diaries,
It's okay. Go ahead.
but you know how love is good. However, people usually, I think it's commonplace for people to say that we can't eat love, so without money, love cannot really thrive properly, if that makes sense, so in the same way, passion is good. It's very, very lovely to be passionate about what you do. However, even passion is not exempt from poor management, for example, and poor pay, for example, etc. So passion alone is not enough. However, passion is very, very necessary, if that makes sense. So it's very risky to just follow passion. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Okay, so why do you think people, because I do have a friend, I have to share a personal experience. I do have a friend who has, there's this sort of job that I want in my life, a job that involves me traveling a lot.
Okay.
So one of my friends tells me stories about, oh, she's been here, she's always airborne, she has traveled here, she has traveled here. Oh God, she's always traveling. Like she seems so busy. I love her life. I want her. Sometimes I tell her, oh God, you're living my life. This is what I want. I like the kind of nomadic sort of job
Yeah.
that takes me from this country to this country. She's been everywhere.
Yeah.
Like every month she's in this country, she's in another country. So, but I sit back and ask myself one day sometimes, do I really want this? Like it's a it's 7-figure job. Like, do I
Wow.
really want this kind of job? Like a job that makes me airborne all the time. I'm always traveling. So sometimes I wonder, should I like give her my resume to apply for that job for me? Do they have vacancies? I want your job. I want your life.
Yeah.
So, but sometimes I just want to like reflect and ask myself the questions. Do I want to put up with that stress of having to fly every day, every month? I'm airborne, I'm flying from here to here. What time does she have to like even enjoy the 7-figure job or 7-figure salary she's making?
Yeah.
So it is bringing me to my next question. So
Yeah.
why do you think people like really remain in this dream job, so-called dream job, even when reality contradicts what the dream job paints?
Yeah. So that's a good question, actually. Like I said earlier about like over romanticized.
Yeah.
So the dream job does exist, but I just feel it's over romanticized in our world today. So what I mean is, even hearing the job, I'm thinking, should I apply too? you
No,
know,
of course.
no, but yeah, but the truth is, just like you pointed out, even though there's the glam, there's the social media worthy content, you know, there's that aspect of the job. There's also so many other parts that she probably doesn't share with the world.
Exactly.
Where she's crying, or she has some form of deadline, or she needs to be in some other place, but instead she's in the air flying. She's probably not spending enough time with her family. She has a very, very, very thwarted sense of home because she doesn't know where home is anymore. It moved so long, you don't feel
You just made
at
it
home.
spot on. That's what she complains
Do you
about. But
get me?
it's the aesthetics that I'm admiring.
Exactly. So that's my major point. Every job kind of has that. The very glam part, the interesting part, you love it. But in a bid to chase that, it's very, very useful to keep your expectations managed. That is, even where you get a job that you love the part that was advertised to you, just bear at the back of your mind that there will be other parts that no matter what love you have, you're still going to have to face them, if that makes sense. So at the end of the day, it's like a pros and cons type situation.
Yeah.
When you've done that and you say, oh, okay, my pros kind of outweigh my cons, then go for it. But it's a very, very, very big mistake to expect the job to only have pros. I think that's a mistake.
Okay, so I think you just answered my next question right now. So I think, but I will still ask it anyway.
Okay.
So what's a healthier way to think about work? To think about this dream job thing?
Okay, yes, I partly did. So I'll just reiterate that. I think I can answer in one line, but I'll explain.
All right.
Manage your expectations.
Yeah.
That's simply what it is. You can't expect, listen, people take as much as 30, 35 years to find out or discover their purpose or passion. Not to say that some people don't find out earlier, 15, 18, 20, 25, whatever. Some people find out earlier, some people find out later. Discovering your purpose or your identity, who you are as a person in life, is kind of like tough work. And unfortunately, I don't think that your work is going to bring that out of you, if that makes sense. So your work is supposed to be the means to the end.
Yeah, not
and the
the-
end is supposed to be your personal goal.
Sure.
I'll give an example. You want to, say for instance, you want to help children. Then you go work in a school to be able to help children. For whatever reason, they start to lay people off in the school, no problem. The reason, the end is, the reason why you do what you're doing is because you want to help children. So if you can't help children in the school, you can help children at the orphanage, for example.
Yeah,
There's
sure.
many other avenues to help children. So your life's purpose is attached to you and you only, and your work is supposed to only be the means to that end.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that, Paul. So I think let's talk about companies that sell these dream jobs. Like a company advertises, places something out there for people to apply. They paint it so big. This is it. This is what you get. So what do you think companies need to do to put like a balance to what they put out there? Like to just like tell them what people just put out the pros and cons.
Yeah.
This is what to expect. This is what will happen, so that people's expectations are not crushed when they eventually land these dream jobs.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
The honest truth is, it's just very tough. I don't think there's that can work. I don't think that's feasible. It's just the same way individuals would not necessarily put the ugly parts of them online, if that makes sense. I get it from their end. They overdo it most times, but I get it. We live in a very capitalist society. Like, capitalism has taken over the world. Everything is for sale. Like, it doesn't matter the cost, just numbers. Nothing about well-being, nothing about health.
Yeah.
Numbers. All that matters, numbers. So I get it. Like, companies will go to any lengths to get people to apply to them. They want to secure the best talents. I cannot imagine a scenario where a company is gonna put cons in their job descriptions. You know what I mean? So I think that the onus is on the applicants and the employees to just bear at the back of their mind that there must be cons. So a better way to approach it is, when you get the most glam offer, maybe in your interview stage, you could ask questions
Yeah.
to kind of like spot out potential pitfalls, if that makes sense, like potential downsides, and then make sure you have a clear understanding of what that job is going to take from you
What it entails, like, yeah.
before you actually go ahead with it. But I would love to sit here and say, oh, hey, big companies, top companies, Fortune 500 companies, put out your cons. It's just never going to happen.
It's never going to
unrealistic.
happen.
Yeah.
And do you think like interviewers in companies, like what you just said right now, maybe when human resources is interviewing you for a particular role, they could entertain questions like that? Because, when people I need to land this job, I need to be very careful with the questions I answer or the questions that I ask. So people don't disqualify me, or this one is being so nosy and all of that. So what do you say? What would you tell people to be careful to ask questions during
Yeah.
interview process?
Yeah.
Or should human resources be open to take questions from people when interview session is going on? Where do we strike the balance, right?
Yeah. No, trust me. Like this topic is very tricky, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a constant balance between what's real and what's ideal, if that makes sense. So ultimately, how you've described it, HR put out something like, if I want to put it very bluntly, what like what the question is, HR should probably be more vocal about the downsides of working with the company. Do you know what I mean? However, it kind of contradicts their targets. Like they're not out here to just exist.
Yeah.
They're out here for numbers. Remember, I talked about capitalism. They want to get the best talents. If there are X amount of graduates and there are X amount of qualified candidates, they want to get as much of that X as possible. They're not going to jeopardize their own chances by telling you information that could potentially put you off, if that makes sense. And also, that's also true. If I am an interviewer myself,
Yeah.
and there's like 10 people in the room, and then there's this one person that's just asking so many questions.
Yeah.
The HR, they're human beings as well, so it gives a sort of, do you know what I mean? Like a sort of like impression about you that
You're too curious. You're too
yeah,
nosy.
like this guy's gonna be trouble. It's
It'll
gonna
be trouble in this
problem.
company.
So even if you have those burning questions, I don't know if I'm going to advise you to actually ask them. I would just advise you to be very smart. You just need to move very carefully. For example, you don't need to ask the HR directly. You can ask fellow workers. You can ask other people that have worked there for times.
Yeah.
There's even like online reviews for some companies of, past and present employees, what they say about the company. So, you shouldn't just read about job description or company's website and stuff. Try and find out more information, because unfortunately, I know it should be ideal for companies to be very vocal about everything, but it's just not realistic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're just going to have to be tactical and find those information by other means rather than maybe just asking directly.
During interview sessions, I've been in quite a lot, right? So I've worked for a while. So HR and human resources, maybe interviewers will say, please be open, ask us anything, And then in that space, that's in that situation, you tend to be careful. I'm just trying to follow what your thought process. You tend to be careful. Should I ask them this? What's the salary expectations? What's that? You're careful with the questions you ask. You're asking in that space.
Yeah.
So, but I kind of buy the idea of you having to go to the corner,
Yes.
look for people that have worked
Absolutely.
there,
Always.
and ask them questions. What happens here? What happens here? There was a job I was going to take one time, and because of the answers that the LinkedIn people, the workers from LinkedIn, don't try it. I took a step back.
Absolutely.
I took a step back. I didn't want to take that job because of what I heard from the people that would have been my co-workers.
Yeah.
So that's something people need to know. We need to put it out there for people to know that. But you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to add that, there's also websites, there's also platforms that help with stuff like this. Of course, not all companies are out there, but Glassdoor.com, Glassdoor, if you type Glassdoor, it's going to come up online. And that's literally what the platform is for, reviews. So people who have worked, they leave reviews. So you can come and, I don't know, look up some company you got a job at or got an interview coming up
There's
at.
also this one Naira something that was
Is that Nairaland?
Naira Land.
Probably that's more
Yeah,
Nigerian, but
Naira
this one is
Land.
like it's quite
Yeah.
universal. But
Okay.
yes, that's a good one.
That's
hundred
a good
percent.
one for
That's a good one.
Nigerians. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely check out Nairaland. What are people saying about this job?
About this company.
Yes, because what you're seeing is not always true.
Just like social media, what social media is
Exactly.
about.
Exactly.
So let's talk briefly about the psychological toll on finding a perfect job, what it takes on people.
Okay.
I know you land, you're done with NYC, you've gotten your certificate, had a 2-1, you had a first class, and then the psychological toll just begins. Some people get lucky, they get a job immediately.
Yeah.
They know a few people that helps them land a job. But you see, you've gone online, you've seen this job advertised, you know you completely and you perfectly fit into that role. You know the psychological toll of having to land the dream job or land a perfect job. You do this, you have to get the certificate, you have to do the scores, you have to do all of that. So let's talk about that briefly.
Okay, so the problem with the concept of the dream job is, from the terminology alone, it sounds like it's one job.
Okay.
For example, I want to be an accountant, or maybe one company. I want to work at X company, if that makes sense, but it really shouldn't be so. The reason why I say this is the psychological toll it has on people wanting to find that dream job is that sometimes they might be in a job where they just need to pay attention and it could be a dream job, but because they're chasing that particular job that doesn't have cons, like, oh, I like to sing, so I should be an artist or I should be a musician. But trust me, if you're a full-time artist, you're a full-time musician, every day is not going to be rosy, even though you love to sing. So you're not exempt from burnout. You're not exempt from sleepless nights. You're not exempt from just natural things that should come with like a dream job. So, and the effect of this is that some people, they have this job, it pays well and this or that, but at the earliest sign of inconvenience, oh, this isn't my dream job, there probably is another job out there. And you've changed jobs 4 times, you've changed jobs 5 times.
You keep job humping,
When are you going to stop?
No, you keep
You're already
jumping.
burnt out from moving so much anyway. You know what I mean? So the terminology is very confusing. I feel like the dream job should in fact be like something broad, like a field, like a path, like
Okay.
do you know what I mean? Like, I'll use this analogy like a garden. Like,
Okay.
you're not necessarily looking for just one plant that will
Okay.
blossom forever and ever and ever. No, you're rotating your crops. You're planting here, you're watering here, you're doing X, you're doing Y, if that makes sense. And all together, collectively, it makes
The dream job, the dream
job.
count.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're into so many things. You're managing your time well. You're doing this. You're doing that. You're evolving. What you thought was the dream job last year probably isn't what you think is the dream job now, because just like everything in life, things change. Your interests change.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have a really, really hard time, and it's gonna affect you psychologically if you have an idea that there's a
A
perfect
particular job that's
job
going to give you
that is
that
going to
dream.
give you everything you want from life.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. That really answers it. Like one job can't give you that thing you're looking for.
Absolutely. I genuinely believe
All right,
that.
let's bring it home a little bit. Let's talk about you. You've never really told me what happened.
Okay.
What do you think? Your job was dreamy, right? If I have to put it that way, like you had a good job in the UK.
It was.
And all of a sudden you quit your job in the UK, you took the next flight and came back to Lagos, Nigeria.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh God, what's going on with Paul?
Yeah.
You had a dream job, like an office job that you walk into, you go every day, had great colleagues. I don't know about that. I mean, I'm sure you're going to tell me.
I did. No, I love them. I love them. Yeah.
And then you woke up one morning and you quit. You
Yeah.
realized it wasn't so dreamy after all.
Yeah.
There's something else that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And then you're back in Lagos, you're creating content.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Tell
Yeah.
me about that.
Yeah. First things first, I like how you put it, because like you've literally summarized my worst nightmares. I'm joking. But
Okay.
yes, I did quit, but I didn't take that decision lightly, if that makes sense. So I had that job for quite a while. I had it for like, I think 3 years or 4, just under 4, let's say, shall we just say. And it did for like a while. Like it did what it was supposed to do. It paid me well. it aligned with what I was focusing and concentrating on at the time and whatnot. Do you know what I mean? But first things first, like anyone who knows about accounting or science, action and reaction and all of this stuff. I don't want to be too complex, but the moment something starts to give more than starts to take more than it gives, there's already a problem.
Yeah.
So when we talk about pros and cons, if the pros outweigh the cons, that means overall that's a good job, innit? But if the cons outweigh the pros, that means that the job is probably not for you or it's not good for you and whatnot. So at the point, the cons just started to outweigh the pros.
Wow.
I find myself, there's not many people that like sleep more than me in this country, to be honest. And so suddenly I'm just having sleepless nights. I'm working on my reports. I have to meet this deadline. I have to do things. And there are targets that are not black and white. There are targets that are very complicated to move. You know what I mean? So, when it starts to be like that, where like I don't even have space to breathe, like I've lost my peace, like I'm almost anxious. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm almost walking around like this with clenched fists, like so angry, so frowning, just frustrated with everything. I just knew there was a problem. First things first. Second, I've always wanted to be a content creator. So I've kind of like postponed my dream since I was 21 up until now. So I just knew this was what I really wanted to do, regardless of what it entails. But I didn't just think it was time. So it was a mix of them two things where like, I'm just like, you know what? I really, really want to chase my dreams. I don't think that this is doing it for me at this point. This just feels like the perfect opportunity to live here. I'm having a hard time here anyway. How bad can my
it be?
actual dreams be? So I slept on that decision for well over 3 months. I didn't take it lightly at all, bro. I don't want to mention the amount, but just think of heavy sum of money. So yeah, it was a really good paying job. It was, and I loved the people, but it just didn't align with me anymore. And one day I woke up. I said to my supervisor, I know you're probably gonna think I'm joking, but
I'm about to quit.
yeah.
Interesting. That's a big decision right there.
Guess what? It was like on the verge of a promotion.
Whoa.
Yeah. So when you do the calculation, I did the math. I'm like, I'm already having nightmares. And you want to give me even more responsibilities. Yeah, more money, but that's a beginner. A beginner will worry about, I'm gonna get money, I'm gonna get the aesthetics, I'm gonna be rich, I'm gonna, lifestyle and all of that. But I'm thinking about the responsibilities I'm gonna have to shoulder to be able to keep this role. Do you know what I mean? So just when it's coming up to that time where the organization was restructuring, naturally people in my role were just kind of, they tried to like maybe extinguish this role and then just bump everyone in that role to a senior role and just change the structure a little bit. And he thought I was joking. He still thinks I'm joking. He wants me back there next Monday. I said, boss, I'm out. And he said, I know you're a very calculated person, you're smart, so I know if you're saying this to me at this point, you probably thought about it.
You've thought about it.
Yeah, so I wish you all the best, and that was it. I booked my flight, and here I am.
Here you are in Lagos.
Yeah.
And that's content creation for you. So how's that been? Content creating thing. I know you do have burnout in your content creation. You do, because that's not...
You from the experience of this, you can tell my struggles.
Exactly. I know what you're going through. Trust me, I do.
Yeah.
So would you think that what you've ventured into, is it that dreamy? I know you just said that, okay, your dream job can't be one thing. You have to you described it like a garden. You plant here, you plant here, you plant here, but that's a lot of work. A lot of planting to do. So do you think you're living that dream right now?
So pros and cons. Again, let's do a small calculation.
Okay.
So when I was in my 9 to 5, I had problems. I had issues. Trust me, like there's just no, like I said, action, reaction, profit, loss, plus and minus. There's just no free anything. So if somebody tells you they're earning X amount, stop thinking about money, think of responsibility, think of what they have to do
Spot on.
to be paid that much, right? So when I was in my 9 to 5, I had problems. I am a content creator now, I still have problems, So it's not always going to be rosy. There's nothing that's worth having that it's just going to come easy to you, if that makes sense. So,
Absolutely.
but guess what? When I'm 3 a.m. writing my scripts, directing my video, writing the story, right? Working on this content and whatnot, everything in my body just wants to sleep and throw it away. But I persevere. Why? Because I love this thing.
Exactly.
So that's what keeps me, like, I have an
There's
additional
this fire burning.
Yes. It's not for anybody now. I'm an entrepreneur.
You're doing it for yourself.
It's for me. So it just gives me that extra boost. I don't care if I sleep at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. I'm just gonna get this stuff done because I know that when I put it out there and the world is watching, it's gonna bring me so much satisfaction, if that makes sense. So
Spot on.
yes, I still have problems, but guess what? I'm happy with
You
my
are.
problems. I love my problems now.
Obviously. Obviously.
But yeah.
This is really, really, really eye-opening. Like it's eye-opening. Like I can't relate, trust me. I can't. So but I do have a question for you, even though it's going to be one of the episodes I'll put out in future.
Okay.
So do you think that this passion, you could have had the same passion, chased the same dream that you're currently living right now while in your 9 to 5? Because I'm still going to bring in a content creator who combines 9 to 5 and content creation. Yes, because I need to hear their own side.
100%.
So do you think it's something that you would have been able to do? Would your job have allowed you to do something like that?
Yes and no. Yeah. Because maybe I'm just lazy. I don't know. But I barely had time for myself.
Okay.
So the kind of job I had, it was really hardcore. Like, it was really hardcore. You always had to be present. You're always working on something. You're always doing something. I only had 2 days off, and they weren't necessarily weekends. Because obviously this is not Nigeria, so like there's no Saturday and Sunday, like the normal working week, Monday to Friday in Nigeria. It wasn't the case for me then. So it could be any day of the week. Usually one of those days I spend doing admin for my life. Like, I do just
have time for other things, right?
Stuff,
Yeah.
And then one day in the week I'm resting. And guess what? Sometimes this job actually makes me work 6 days.
Wow.
And not 7. So it depends on the kind of 9 to 5 you have. If it's very structured and you have a very, very, should I say, fixed routine, it's kind of easy for you to plan something else in there. But trust me, every day I was fighting for my life. I was fighting to stay afloat. I did really well, by the way. I wasn't bad at it, but it took too much from me personally.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So I just felt like, for me to even sit back and think about content, I need to first of all get my creative juices flowing. There's no way that's going to happen in this job, because it was so straightforward. It was so time sensitive. Everything was just so, you make one wrong move, everything goes wrong.
Yeah.
So maybe there are people that can do it and mix the two, but I couldn't. That's just real life. Like, I just couldn't. So I really, really just had to stop. I didn't even start immediately. The job was so draining that I had to take some time off.
Rest from all of that.
to just come back. Like,
get yourself back.
Before I was able to now think about content, kind of be creative with stuff and whatnot. So in my case, I wasn't, but there could be people who can. And
I'm with you. I'm with you. All right, spot on, eye-opening.
And real talk begins. The After 5 Diaries.
So we asked some of our listeners to share their own personal experiences on what's happened to them in a job that they regarded as their dream job. And here's what one person had to say. I'll read their story out for you guys. All right, I still remember the email. Dear Tolulope Adebayo, we are pleased to offer you the position of assistant brand manager. It felt like everything I'd worked for had come true. I screamed, danced, called my parents, my mom cried. My dad said he was proud, really proud. I pictured a polished life in glass offices, running millionaire campaigns, but reality hit hard. The workload was brutal. I was in at 7:45 a.m., out at 9 p.m. Wow.
Wow.
Weekends gone. My manager made constant jabs at my local degree. I stopped picking up, stopped sleeping. Once after an all-nighter, she called my work mediocre at best.
Wow.
Anxiety set in. My chest tightened every morning. I thought I was under spiritual attack. My mom even sent me to her pastor. The breaking point came during a project rebrand. I led the project, poured myself into it, and was humiliated by my marketing director in front of the entire team. That night, I sat crying in my car on Adeni Jones. Weeks later, a panic attack on Falmouth Bridge told me I had to leave. When I quit, people said I was ungrateful. Even my dad was shocked. You're leaving a six-figure job for freelance content? But I couldn't go back. Now I work freelance. I earn less, but I'm breathing again. I sleep, I laugh, I have Sundays to myself. The job was never the dream. Feeling worthy was. And that came only when I finally chose myself. Oh, interesting.
Very, very interesting.
Interesting. So many things that I picked from the story. So
Yeah.
many. Let's talk about it a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. To be honest, I picked out a few things as well. First thing I noticed was she did. I don't know if it's a guy or girl. I don't know, but they made mention of the car.
Yeah.
So they were crying in the car.
Yeah.
So first things first, can we just take a moment to think about all the dream jobs we thought about that people had because of the kind of cars they drove?
Exactly.
Can you see this is like a direct example of what I said earlier? Because people see the car. Trust me, when she bought the car, she did some nice content.
Exactly. Of course she
She put it
did.
online. People saw that. They're like, I want to be like her, you know. But the truth is, she's having panic attacks. She's like, you know, like her self esteem is just tanking, you know. But there you are wishing that you were in her shoes, whereas you're doing your job and you're making ends meet for yourself. Maybe you don't drive the kind of car they
That she
drive,
had. Yeah.
you know, but you know, you have your time, you have your space, you're doing several things. You know what I mean? So that's one. Two, I did pick out the boss. The
Spot on.
boss, yeah. I genuinely, I think that if there's something I could say to like, you know, all HR personnel or just everybody in a position of authority at the workplace, is for people to just treat everyone with respect. You know, but unfortunately, this is the case for most people. Some bosses are kind of like, you know, I just don't think that there should be any reason for personal jabs in the workplace. Like, if the work is terrible, comment on the work and you can be nice about stuff. It's a cycle, you know, like people just think that, I don't know what their thought process is, but like I genuinely think you can pass across messages that will get the person to actually improve rather than destroy their self-esteem.
Exactly.
You
I'm
know,
humiliating them, especially in front of people.
come
You
on,
know.
come on. Like, it's just not the way to go.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, as the owner or as a manager or as a supervisor or as their superior, it's important to you that they meet their targets. Otherwise, why are you their manager in the first place? You know, so it should be like a teamwork, like people collectively helping each other to reach some collective targets. If you have a weak link on your team, then your team is weak as the leader of that team. You know, so genuinely, I just think that, you know, I'm a bit biased because I've made the same move. I think she did the right thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Obviously.
for her, like I said, it wasn't about the cars. It wasn't about the lifestyle anymore. It was about feeling worthy. It was about having time on the weekends. It was about not feeling like you're small, feeling like you're irrelevant. And she's having that now. So
She
there's
has
no
it.
dream job.
Even though the pay is less, but she's happy.
Exactly.
That's what matters at the end of the day.
Exactly. You know, so yeah, so I think that's the perfect story for this episode actually,
Right.
because yeah, it makes the entire point.
Exactly.
You know,
It does.
you
It
don't have to
does.
stay there just because you posted on LinkedIn or your family
Got a lot of likes. Ah, the dream
you know,
job.
they
And
did a
you're wearing the nice
celebration.
hair, the perfect hair,
Come
the
on,
dresses,
yeah.
the bags, the shoes.
Oh my God.
And then when you put out there that you've left that job, people are going to looking like you like,
Yeah.
for
They
real.
think you, like you said, they thought you were ungrateful. They thought she
Exactly.
was ungrateful. They thought
Do you
like
know your life is what people envy every day, they pray to have.
To have, oh my God, trust me, till now, I still get comments about myself that, bro, are you sure you weren't stupid? I genuinely am saying sometimes I'm like, bro, am
Are
I?
you?
Am I? Because, sometimes it's counterproductive. Like,
Yeah.
why would she go for a lesser pay? Why would she, but whoever wears the shoe,
They know where it
know where,
pinches.
do you get what I mean? So, she had a reason for doing that. She's not stupid. She made a decision because at a point it started to cost more than it was giving her, and she's having panic attacks. If she stays in that job, give her 3 months and then she's probably in the hospital. Do you know what I mean? So there's sometimes you just have to. I'm not advising people to leave their jobs at the earliest sign of inconvenience. I'm just saying there's sometimes where you need to ask yourself if that dream job is still dreamy. Is it still aligned with your purpose? Is it still doing what you expected or felt it was going to do for you?
Exactly.
And at any point where that's not the case, it's very, very okay to walk away.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's very, very okay to walk away.
Yeah.
You keep answering my
The next
questions before I was going to ask you my next question. I was going to say,
Okay.
what advice do you give to someone who is stuck in a job with a high paying salary, but they are constantly in a bitter state?
Yeah.
Their bosses are yelling at them.
Yeah.
They don't have peace of mind. They wake up at 2 a.m. to cry. The
Yeah.
next morning, they are palpitating about going into work. What advice do you give someone like that? And especially someone who there's no alternative. If I quit now, where am I going to? So just what advice do you give someone in that situation?
That's a tough one. That was actually a tough one because of that line you threw in there.
Yeah, I had to throw in that line.
Yeah, no option. Okay, it's a tough one, but I'll answer. I don't think I have the right answer, but I think I just have a tip, something that helped me, right, when I was in that situation. So what I did was I asked myself my whys, right? I find that usually when I walk through life and I'm confused, this is what helps me get back on track. Sometimes you do things very mindlessly. You wake up, you go to job, you go to your work, you do what you have to do, you come back, and then 2 years have passed. Like, you're just mindless about like the overall direction of your life. So sometimes you need to actually sit down, meditate, and get like your calibrations. Like, where is your compass? Where do you want to go? What are you trying to achieve? Right. So what I did was I asked myself my whys. Why do I need this job? Why am I in this job? Why should I continue enduring what I'm doing? Why should I stay? Keep asking yourselves the why. And when you get the answer, ask why that, why, and just keep asking why until you arrive at
The final answer.
And then I thought to myself, for me, why just led me to, I've just always wanted to be like in entertainment, right from when I was little. I've done many things in my lifetime. I have so many degrees, not so many too, but very, very, very advanced degrees. Yes, and somehow I kind of forgot what I really wanted to do, So when I started to ask myself those whys, I kind of just arrived at the point that usually, just by natural instincts, like if I'm in a place, like I'm speaking, like I do it so effortlessly, like I'm just talking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so, and then I thought to myself, I was like, how did I miss that and just find myself in this serious
9 to 5.
I'm just
So serious,
I'm in a
suit and
suit
tie.
and a tie, and I'm like, wow, how did I get here? So it helped me to recalibrate a lot, and then I just made some like tough choices. For this person, like you said, if there's no alternative, then it's different. So don't leave your source of livelihood, because trust me, whatever you're going through in that job,
Someone else's.
Poverty is worse. So don't quit your job
Unemployment is worse.
Thank you. Don't quit your job without a plan. But I would say that most times it's not worth your mental health. So ask yourself your whys. Even if you're not going to leave that job, when you're reminded of your whys, I need to stay in this job for X amount of time to then be able to get enough to then pursue this.
Okay.
You're gonna have like fuel for the next couple of maybe months just to be able to reach that goal. Like you're gonna get you wouldn't mind if your marketing director is talking to you in a way because you know, oh, I have X amount of months left and I'm out. So you take it very, very lightly. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think ask yourselves your whys until you realize why you are in that predicament in the same place and what's most important to you.
Yeah, my smiles. I'm smiling, Paul. Thank you so much. Thank you
Yeah,
so
you're
much, Paul.
welcome.
It's been very, very insightful.
And real talk begins. The After Five Diaries.
So, Paul, right, at the end of the day, I think what we should tell people is that we're not saying that they should give up on meaningful work,
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
They should just like give up the idea that their job has to give their life a meaning. I think that's the
Absolutely.
summary of everything we say. What do you think?
Absolutely. I agree. You know, as individuals, as employees, they're allowed to want more, more peace, more time, more anything that's
Yeah.
important to them. Maybe the dream isn't just a job.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a life that doesn't revolve around a job.
Spot on, spot
Yeah.
on, spot on,
Yeah,
spot on.
yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, Paul. It's been
Yes.
nice chatting.
My pleasure.
We've been
My
catching up on.
pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're
So, you guys,
welcome.
if this episode hits home, I want you to share to people that could relate to what we're saying, share to people that are stuck in a job that is not so dreamy anymore. At the same time, do not forget to subscribe, like, put your comments. If you've been affected in any way in what we've said today, I want you to put your comment down there. If you're stuck in a job, put your comments. Let's see and let's hear your own sides and your own view of what we're discussing here. Also follow us on Instagram at the After Five Diaries, or TikTok at the After Five Diaries, Facebook, on LinkedIn at the After Five Diaries. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. So next time I'm going to bring in something else as relevant as what we said today. So you guys do take care. I love you. Bye.
After five.